there is still so much value, and another free agent is still out there. And I think he would fit so well with the Philadelphia Eagles. You need depth, or you need a guy that maybe has to come in and play when he has to. I think this is another guy that can go out and get a ton of value out there for the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to talk about it. And the NFL head coach meetings are happening. The Tush Push ban, what Nick Sirianni said, what Howie Roseman has been doing behind the scenes as well at these meetings. And we have a lot to talk about here. Short video, but let's get into it.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope it's on a fantastic day today. This video is sponsored by BetUS, so definitely go check them out if you guys have not. So we have a lot to discuss today. We're talking some value that's still out there in free agency. Okay, now there's a couple things that could happen here. Okay, one is that some of these free agents that are still available are probably waiting till after the draft. And yes, after the draft, there will be more players from from organizations that will get released, become available, and the Eagles could sign some guys. So keep that in mind as well, why they're still free agents too, because some of these guys that are still out here as free agents want a starting job, and sometimes they won't get their wish to have that starting job, which, after the draft, they're going to have to, take a backup job or a rotational job or whatever position that's available to them that they could play. We'll see what happens. But a free agent that's still out there right now is Isaiah Simmons from the New York Giants, obviously 26 years old, guys. Okay. I mean, this is perfect. Okay. We talked about a lot more the other day, and just Jawan Bentley from the Patriots at 28 years old. That could be nice linebacker depth to some competition. If you need these guys to play, they can come in and play. I think the Giants traded for Isaiah Simmons, I think, for a 6th-rounder a couple years ago. And it was very cheap compensation, but obviously on a really bad team. And Isaiah Simmons wouldn't be a bad addition for the Philadelphia Eagles, or if the Philadelphia Eagles didn't really draft anybody they're kind of like about, or maybe they didn't touch on linebacker early enough in the draft, they could go get an Isaiah Simmons that's out there and plug him in behind Trotter Jr., or have a competition for Jeremiah Trotter Jr., because they're not, giving out these, they're not going to. Vic Fangio is not just giving away starting jobs to anybody. I think we all know this, but I think this is a ton of value. And look, I'm not saying he needs to play safety, but if you need him to play safety, if you want him to work with the safeties and with the linebackers, he could do both. So I think they have interest in guys that play multiple positions in the secondary. Maybe Andrew Phillips from Kentucky, guys that can play inside, outside. I think they want to move some guys around if they have to. God forbid you garnish some injuries during the year. You have guys that could kind of switch, and you kind of won't miss a heartbeat. Okay, you won't miss a heartbeat, or you have to rely on one guy that's, if this guy gets hurt, the Eagles get exposed at this one position. And getting a guy like Isaiah Simmons, as well as a couple others that are still out there, like I said, fantastic value, and I think it would be a big help for this team. These signings might come after the draft. It might not happen right now because the longer these guys wait out, the cheaper they're going to be. The cheaper they're going to be, and that's just the way it is right now. And then you ask, well, why are they still available, and why are because there's just no interest. Either guys are coming off injuries, guys are coming off bad seasons, or that's just the way it goes sometimes. But you plug them into the Philadelphia Eagles defense, you put them through training camp, you put them through a whole offseason program, and things could change dramatically. Okay. Isaiah Simmons would come in as a role player with a with great defensive prospects around him, all the players around him, and I think he would just work as a good role player for Philadelphia. Just like Isaiah Rodgers coming in for Darius Slay when he had to, and he's a legit starting corner he's a legit starting corner in the league as well. But if you need a guy that doesn't get to play as much and needs to come in for a game or a few plays, this could be a guy you can go out and get. But I think he'll have not much of a bigger role, but depending on what the future is opposite of Zach Bond. Obviously, Nakobe Dean is out. Ben Van Simmeren is coming off a knee injury, and it looks like they've listed him as a fullback full-time. Linebacker is going to be an interesting one to kind of look at here. And if you need a guy that can play two positions, I mean, a veteran in his prime, and you want to bring him in to get that big contract for next year or get some money on the table, feed his family, hey, play for the Philadelphia Eagles coming off a Super Bowl and join the best defense in the NFL. Why not? So Isaiah Simmons is still out there as of right now. Now, the last thing I want to go over, this is a short one today, obviously, but I think there's some important things to take from it. Okay. Now, we obviously had the coaching meetings, the NFL head coaching meetings where they discuss obviously rules. I know the Eagles have kind of tied their, some of their talks into overtime rules. Every team has put in like something to the league, like, hey, I think this should be changed, and that's really up to the league if it's going to change. If it's not going to change, we'll see what happens. But obviously, the tush push has been pretty much a big thing as of right now. Now, Mike Garofalo actually talked to Nick Sirianni. Now, it's all about getting votes on your side. Nick needs to have votes on his side for this tush push not to be banned. Okay. Now, Mike did talk to him, and this is what he had to say. So he had a grin on his face while Nick was talking. He said, "We'll see how it goes. All I will say about it is Jonathan Gannon, Shane Steichen, and Kellen Moore better vote for it. They are in the head coach position right now because of that play. So all three, I better have those three votes right there, and the Eagles vote. I at least know we have four." Okay. He just came out and said it, man. He's like, those guys that used to be here, they better vote. They better help us out and vote. You know what I mean? And be on my side. Especially Kellen Moore. He should be, because he just won a Super Bowl with the Eagles last year. But a lot of success with Shane Steichen being here. No Super Bowl wins, but success in the regular season. Success, obviously, with Jonathan Gannon as well when he was here for, the amount of time he was here before it all went downhill in the end. And there was some things going around. Okay, Howie Roseman was apparently in talks. Okay, with Sean McDermott from the Buffalo Bills head coach and the head coach from the LA Rams, Sean McVay. Kind of a real animated conversation they were having. Now, I don't know if the Buffalo Bills I think the Bills like the tush push. I don't think they are against it. I think the Rams, I'm not sure if they're against it or not. I'm not really sure. I know Washington has complained, and obviously within our division, I don't blame them because they just can't beat it. They can't beat what we do with this offensive line with the tush push. Green Bay has been probably the biggest team that has been pushing this team to get banned like crazy. But I know Nick is going to have guns. He's going to be blazing, and ready to, have his defense. And we'll see what happens. Tuesday is the deadline to see if this tush push is going to get banned. And we're going to find out how many are going to be against the Philadelphia Eagles. Honestly, guys, I don't even care. I don't care. You know what makes me more comfortable? It makes me more comfortable that you have Saquon Barkley. And let me tell you, with that QB sneak, whether it's a tush push or just a QB sneak, you'll find a loophole to do something, okay, with that play. I don't know what they'll do, but they'll figure it out. And you have A.J. Dillon. If he can stay healthy throughout this offseason program, training camp, preseason, he gets through it, and he looks really good. I'm going to tell you something. Like, that's going to be a very successful 1-2 punch. Nobody is stopping A.J. Dillon behind the Eagles' offensive line. I'm telling you that. I'm telling you that right now. Okay, so I think people need to feel a little bit better. Wendell Smallwood is not really pushing piles, but he's got great vision, and the way they've used him at times, I've liked it. But sometimes he hits a wall. A.J. Dillon ain't going to hit no wall. That man is the wall that's going to hit you. Okay, so that's where we're kind of at right now. So I don't even care if it gets banned. If it gets banned, then all these teams are petty and they're soft, and the teams that have tried to do this play have been unsuccessful. I've seen Detroit do it. I've seen Josh Allen and Buffalo do it. I've seen Herbert do it. Jordan Love. I mean, it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. The way they've tried to get this done, and they just can't do it. Okay, the Eagles have, obviously, last year, the heaviest offensive line in history, I think, throughout the regular season, and for the Super Bowl, the biggest offensive line Okay. And with an offensive line like that, yeah, you're going to do some damage there for the tush push. So we'll see what happens with this. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but by Tuesday, we'll get an answer on the tush push being banned or not, and we'll see what happens. But other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about Isaiah Simmons coming to the Philadelphia Eagles, another free agent that's still out there. Like I said, got to be patient. It could be now. It could be after the draft. These guys want to get a starting position. So if they don't get it, they'll have to just be like, yeah, you know what? I got to sign. I got to have a job this year. So we'll see what happens with that. And let me know what you guys think on the tush push. Do you think it's going to get banned? Do you think it's not going to get banned and the Eagles are going to continue the domination they have been dominating with that play so far? And if you think it's fair or not, we'll see what happens. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. And make sure you like the video because it helps out tremendously. And check out the Philly Shakedown podcast, Jalen Hurts merch in the description below and pinned in the comments section as well. You guys enjoy. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up, follows like. Peace out, guys. Peace. Peace, peace.